The Hearts of Gold podcast is brought to you by the Grow and Share Network, produced by Off the Walter Media Productions.
Today we have Shelby with us. Hi, Shelby.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I'm so happy that you're here. Can you tell us about your Girl Scout Gold Award project?
I can. So my Girl Scout Gold Award project has evolved into something much larger than myself. When I was first starting out with my Girl Scout Gold Award project, I was volunteering at the Monterey Bay Aquarium, and I had realized that a lot of people didn't understand how they could have a personal impact on the ocean. So I took it upon myself to really pair this ocean-loving side of myself and my Girl Scout Gold Award to create an activity book and create a nonprofit called Junior Ocean Guardians, which ultimately educated my community and everyone around me. And then I was able to also create a challenge called No Straw November, which has launched into such a movement that's much larger than one person. And it's been amazing to see all these people get educated about the ocean.
And so you talked about Monterey Bay Aquarium. What inspired you to start with?
When I was younger, I'm from inland California, which surprises a lot of people that I'm an ocean advocate, even though I live about 45 minutes from the ocean. Growing up, I didn't like sand. I didn't like to get all, dirty at the ocean, even though I'd grown up playing in dirt my whole life. And going to this young woman in science program at the Monterey Bay Aquarium, I just really was able to have my mind blown at how diverse and how beautiful science is, and how limitless the ocean is and how many resources we have in there. It really blew my mind, and being able to continue that through high school, I just partnered all of my loves into one, and Girl Scouts just happened to fit it perfectly.
And why plastic straws?
Right. So that's the question everyone asked me. Plastic straws, when I started out, advocating for the elimination and stopping of single-use plastic straws, it wasn't a known issue. I started this about, 4 years ago and really advocating for it. And back then, straws were just a little convenience that no one even thought twice about. So I mainly started with plastic straws as a way for people to get more involved with them not having to give up their whole routine. So something that they could implement slowly, and it'd be an easy change for most people if they don't medically need a straw. So that's why I chose straws, because it's a gateway to a lot more issues.
You connected with some corporations regarding your plastic proposals. Can you tell us about that?
One of the main issues that I wanted to tackle was corporate sustainability and having them understand their inputs and how they can create a positive effect or negative effect on our planet, just like our own personal impacts. So a huge component to my Girl Scout Gold Award and just everything that I do now is I sent emails to a lot of the corporation CEOs and just outlined how single-use plastic straws can be dangerous to our oceans and human health. And they took a lot of they took it and ran, and a lot of them were very supportive and were able to eliminate millions of single-use plastic straws from their own line. But a lot of other places weren't the happiest that I was emailing them. So I think just having the resilience to be like, hey, I haven't heard from you on this topic. I would love to talk more about you. And acting as a helping hand to these corporations and not shaming them is a huge step into having people and corporations take responsibility for their single-use plastic.
Can you share some examples of the corporations that did take your consideration and make their changes?
One of my main supporters is Alaska Airlines. They were able to reduce their onboard straw usage by the millions. I was also able to work with Dignity Health, which is a healthcare service here in California and a couple other states. And they were able to eliminate that straw usage within their upfront cafeteria area and just really take the opportunity to educate their staff on the issues that are affecting our environment. And, Costco, I was able to work with as well, and several other companies who have just been so kind and just really supportive throughout this process.
And although Starbucks may not attribute your inquiry, Starbucks has changed their products, and they were one of the organizations you met with. What was that like?
Starbucks was, I believe, my second corporate meeting I ever had. My first one was Costco, and it was insane. It was in Seattle. I remember going to Starbucks campus, and I was like, wow, I feel like I'm at a college campus right now. It was very insane. High school Shelby was internally dying. It was so exciting. And I remember meeting with them being very eager, them talking about, sippy cup lids, and I, of course, talked about pros and cons of both. And just having them understand that plastic straws aren't recyclable in our system. And even though our own recycling system has multiple flaws within it, the plastic sippy cup lids are a little bit easier to recycle, not 100%, but it's just trying to make improvements and overall understand an issue that was created. And they also, when I met with them, they had bees on the top of their roof because they were They had a little beekeeping club, so that was super fun.
How did you identify and connect with the CEOs at these major corporations?
So I always tell people to Google. Google is a powerful, service that we all have access to, and Google can find you so much information. And just Googling who the CEO is and either emailing them or finding them through LinkedIn, which I'm a huge advocate for. I love LinkedIn. So just Google them.
What was it like creating a nonprofit?
I just decided to do it. It was a lot and huge undertaking, definitely a lot of paperwork, but I always tell people I wouldn't have started a nonprofit if there wasn't an issue. And I can't wait for the day where I don't need a nonprofit necessarily because the issue would have already been solved. So it's definitely a journey, but I recommend it to anyone.
Your project had such a major impact that it was recognized as one of the 10 National Gold Award Girl Scouts for 2018. What was that experience like?
That experience was a whirlwind. I still have so many good friends who are also National Gold Award Girl Scouts. I remember going to New York. I had gone to New York twice in the same week because the first week was for the She's All That Girl Scout PSA, and that was the weekend before our kind of National Gold Award Girl Scout endeavor. And it was very wild because I was a senior in high school, and it just felt like this amazing whirlwind experience, being able to tell my classmates, oh my God, I'm going to New York for this. And they're like, no, you're not. And then they, see it on social media. So it was just pretty wild. Senior year was a time.
You've continued to have a very close relationship with GSUSA, our national organization. What other things have you partnered with?
I love GSUSA. I've been able to connect with so many amazing Girl Scouts throughout the world and truly just hear about all these amazing innovators that are rising up. Typically for GSUSA, I like to talk to different Girl Scout troops in my area because I do come from such an agricultural area. I love to see and rise up near other ocean heroes who are kind of hiding. And I also just love to be on panels with GSUSA and kind of show how one girl can truly make an impact and hopefully inspire other girls to take charge.
You've also continued partnering with Monterey Aquarium and the area in general and have been on a lot of panels there. Can you tell us about some of those?
Since I'm an alumni of the TCL program, Teen Conservation Leader program, so it's really awesome to see all the new TCLers who come into the aquarium so eager to learn and just really change the aquarium as a whole. The aquarium does a great job uplifting youth voices, and they truly have us on the floor talking to everyone around the world. So I was able to connect with so many different amazing people and just try to talk to them about ocean conservation. So it's fun seeing all the new TCLers, and I mainly just go there to be like, look, I was in your position once, and now I do X, Y, and Z. So it's always fun to connect with them.
Can you tell us more about the No Straw November challenge?
I can. No Straw November is my pride and joy. When I started No Straw November, I had no idea the impact it would have and how much larger than myself it would become. So I created No Straw November when I was in a classroom, and I was talking to these amazing kids, and I had nothing to really challenge them. They knew that plastic was bad. I had just told them all about single-use plastic straws and bags, but nothing that they could do to take home and just really evaluate their actions. So I was like, oh my God, No Straw November, what a great name. And then I started talking to more people, and everyone's like, oh, that is a good name. And just talking about them and my dreams and my goals of having people understand that, yes, you can skip a single-use plastic straw, but it doesn't end there. This should be a starting point for you on this amazing journey to have zero waste, or at least get it somewhat near there. So No Straw November to me means, kind of this amazing starting off point. And what I've been able to take with No Straw November is being able to uplift No Straw November every year, but also pair it with an amazing other organization. So this year is all about voting and having people understand that, their voice has an incredible impact in the polls. And if they really want to see change in their nation or our nation, that they should really take it to the polls if they're of age to do so. And I've been able to pair with Bowsy, which is also another amazing organization that just truly uplifts these youth artists who are just so focused on environmental issues and just really shed light on the importance of artists in our country because we truly need them, and they, keep us all entertained in even the darkest of times like we're seeing now. So it's been really amazing to be able to use No Straw November and all these other avenues of goodness.
And there's a patch that goes with the program too.
There is a patch. I have it here somewhere. When I find it, I'll hold it up, but it's probably my favorite patch I've made to date.
Where can they get more information about the patch and how to get it?
So you can go to my website. It's junioroceanguardians.org, and junior being JR.
Another way you've worked with youth in environmental awareness is you got to do a partnership with Sesame Street. Can you tell us about that?
Sesame Street was such an amazing dream that I didn't even know was accomplishable. I had reached out to Sesame Street, the amazing CEO, and I reached out to him asking if he would have more of a focus on the environment or what his plans were to highlight the environment. And I didn't hear back from him. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm not giving up on this one. So then I had sent him another email following my Washington Post article. And I just really was like, I feel like this is a huge thing that you guys should do. And just, it was really advocating for the environment. And to my surprise, they got back to me and they were so kind. They invited me to the headquarters in New York when I was back there for my GSUSA event. And it was absolutely wild. And the intent of my email was not to be on Sesame Street. It was more just asking what Sesame Street was doing for the environment. And I'd met with them. They're like, oh, yeah, we'd love for you to be in it. And I was like, oh, my goodness. Like, I didn't know that was going to happen. Like, I was very shocked. And then, it was a very long process. It wasn't just overnight. And it finally came out. So that was so rewarding in so many ways. And that was probably my favorite project I've done to date because it was just so positive. We was able to include so many different amazing people and just really uplift the environment.
You've been in front of the camera a lot. What have you learned about video production that's interesting?
Having everything on Zoom is extremely interesting. I'm a college student, so having Zoom classes is like extremely different from what I'm used to it. When I went back for the GSUSA amazing event of becoming a national Girl Scout, I was able to do a press junket. So I was able to sit in the studio and just do all these amazing interviews with different people throughout the country. And that was insanity. It was so cool to witness and be a part of. And I was like, oh my gosh, I kind of like this. I like being a communicator. So I've been able to take that skill that I've been able to learn of just having confidence and knowing what I'm talking about and just understanding that I can do it and hopefully apply that to science and being able to uplift different scientists' voices.
Can you take us behind the scenes a little bit as a National Gold Award Girl Scout? And what kind of media prep did GSUSA give you before you guys either did that press junket or did that live stream?
GSUSA had total confidence in us. We were able to do an interview with them, kind of talking about the process of it. But truly, they just were like, "You got it. Like you guys own it. You know what you're talking about. We don't want to, fill your head with too much of confusion before going into it." So it was so nice to be in an environment where they knew that I knew what I was talking about. I wasn't, having to be like, oh no, but I do know what I'm talking about. It was just a very supportive environment and they just let us be ourselves.
As a National Gold Award Girl Scout, you received a scholarship and you've received other scholarships because of your other work. Can you tell us about some of those?
Being a college student, it's not the cheapest of activities to be a part of. College is definitely expensive. So I was able to receive so many amazing scholarships, not only from Girl Scouts, but from PBWC, Public Business Women. And it was just so awesome to be a part of all those different organizations and have so many people believe in me to continue my education, because I've always wanted to be a college student. I've always wanted to really further my education because my father didn't go to college. He didn't have the opportunity to go to college. So it's been really cool to be kind of that first for my dad's side.
You've also received some other special recognitions. You've been recognized by the Paul Walker Foundation, the Louis DiCaprio Foundation, National Geographic. Can you tell us about some of those adventures?
When I had won the National Geographic Young Explorers kind of title, it was really full circle for me because I grew up watching Nat Geo programs, really reading everything Nat Geo, and just being a true fan as an environmental kid, and just kind of being a national park geek. So it was really cool to just have this amazing opportunity to get involved with National Geographic, which is, probably one of the most forward organizations that there is for the environment, and it's just so respected. So I was extremely honored and humbled that I was accepted into that family, and I'm going to be working on a project with them to hopefully make science more inclusive to everyone and just to overall show kids how diverse and amazing science is, and hope to change the face of science and not just have it as, one type of person. So my goal is to show kids how just cool science is. And, it goes far beyond just chemistry and biology you're taught in high school or middle school. One class I took last semester at my college was history of insects, and I was ready to change to be an entomology major right then and there. It was so amazing. My professor was literally one of the funniest people I've ever met. It was just such an amazing experience that I wish that everyone could go through. So hopefully through that amazing partnership with them, I can inspire more scientists to enter the field.
You were also recently a part of GSUSA's Youth Changemakers event. Can you tell us about that?
So I was able to be part of GSUSA event to overall inspire more girls to take on their challenges and they take on their Gold Award projects. And it was with the UN Envoy on Youth. And it was just so amazing to be part of that and be also with Megan, who's a fellow National Gold Award Girl Scout, and just really talk about our projects and hopefully, be like, we can do it, you can do it, to a lot of other Girl Scouts.
Your Gold Award has really impacted your life. What is a favorite memory from your Gold Award or activities that happened because of it?
I always love talking to kids in classrooms. I think that will always be one of my favorite activities. I'm an only child, so my social interaction with little kids is not as long as other people have been able to deal with. So I always love talking to little kids, and that's probably my favorite thing. They're so brutally honest, and I think that's a trait that a lot of us have lost over time, but I just love it so much. One of my favorite times was I was teaching this class in my hometown, San Juan Bautista, California, and I gave all these kids patches, and I was like, we can do it. I gave them activity books in English and Spanish. And then I was sitting in my car ready to drive to my house, which is not far away. And this little girl comes booking it out of the classroom. Like, she's running full speed to her family that's waiting. And she's holding up her patch and activity book. And I just started bawling in my car. So I was like, oh my God, because she was so excited to teach her family. And I think in that moment, I was like, oh, this is why I'm doing it. We're doing it so people understand their impact on the planet and how they can help it or hurt it, and just overall become more connected with Mother Nature. So that moment right there was probably will always be one of my favorite moments.
And what was one of your biggest learning points during your project?
Quickly understanding that not everyone will have the same point of view as me, and that at times you have to be kind of like the Lorax, just like relentless and just always like knowing what you're talking about, preaching. I will always continue to preach for the environment and just really try to help people understand why it's so important and why even if you don't live by the ocean, you're still impacting the ocean, how the ocean is impacting you. So I think learning how to take different mindsets and understanding them is extremely important. I think a lot of people can learn from that as well. And that's applicable to many different social issues we face.
What was a challenge during your project that you overcame?
A huge challenge starting out, it's not the cheapest of activities to create a nonprofit and just really provide all this free education to a lot of people. So I had to get a job. So my first job ever was at an amusement park called Gilroy Gardens. And I think that was a huge challenge, just, like working through that and being like, I'm doing this for something that will become larger than myself. I hope to educate all these kids. So probably one of my first challenges was understanding financial responsibility and the financial background of a lot of things, and just doing it, like doing my job and just saving up enough money to start Junior Ocean Guardians.
You continue to work with Junior Ocean Guardians very actively. You're definitely a product of GSUSA and are always working with them. You're a college student. How do you balance everything?
I was never the student who was in a lot of AP classes because I was simply gone too much, doing different things for Junior Ocean Guardians and just trying to be the best advocate for Mother Nature I could be while also balancing high school. I was definitely extremely nervous going into a rigorous school like UC Berkeley. I was like, oh my goodness, how am I going to balance this? And then I quickly realized that the staff is like probably the most supportive learning environment I've ever been in. All the professors want you to succeed and just really take on this passion. So I did have to miss some college time, advocating for the environment. And I told my professors, I was like, hi, I have this opportunity that I would really like to take, but like, If not, I totally understand. They're like, oh my gosh, yes, like, of course we want you to go. Like, why wouldn't we want you to go? So I think trying to foster that really understanding community is a huge part. And then just also, I am a huge person who always has to write down my stuff on my calendar. If I don't write it out, I probably won't remember it. So I have sticky notes everywhere. I have, wall calendar, desk calendar, just so I remember.
So, where is your education at Berkeley going to take you in the future?
So my major is a little confusing to some people because it's such a Berkeley major. It's called Society and Environment. So I'm really studying the intersection of how sociology and people in general really either impact the environment or different political things, because my specific focus within my major is global environmental politics. So I hope to be able to just really take this vast knowledge of environmental issues I'm learning about, much past single-use plastic, and just kind of educate people how a lot of these issues are connected, because a lot of people don't understand how the issue of single-use plastic is connected to climate change, and how, combustion of all these different oils and fuels that we have really adds up to something much larger that we don't even understand fully. And just underline being the connecting dot to a lot of things I hope to be. So I'm not sure where will take me. I could either go into policy, I could go into law if I really felt like it. It's a pre-law track. Don't know if I want to do that yet, but I feel like it's limitless.
Part of your project was getting a law passed for California. What went into that experience?
So I had my No Straw November resolution at the time when AB 1884, which is single-use plastic straws upon request, so straws upon request. Both of those straw legislations were going through the California, Assembly and Senate at the same time, and it was truly perfect pairing because we were able to. No Straw November was able to go through the Senate first, and we were able to see who would vote yes on just a resolution, who would vote no, and it was very eye-opening to see just how strategic everything has to be, and how having the right people and just overall trying to foster this, broader care of the environment. So it was incredible. And for the legislation for AB 1884 legislation, I was able to become a key testifying witness for the Committee of Natural Resources, and I came in my Girl Scout vest, and I was basically just telling them why they should care about the ocean and why this legislation, limiting single-use plastic straws being given out just right away is actually a really good thing economically for a lot of small businesses, as they can save money over time not giving out this resource that they necessarily don't have to give out. So it's really cool to be able to connect, just my earth-loving side is just an economic and business standpoint, because it does make sense for a lot of businesses to go green economically, and it's just having them understand that.
Outside of your Gold Award, what other Girl Scout activities had you been involved with?
My favorite activity outside my Girl Scout Gold Award project was when I had the chance to work with this amazing Girl Scout troop in my local area. I was able to educate them on single-use plastic straws, single-use plastic bags, and having this incredible educational breakthrough moment with them. And then literally 2 days later in the week, I also saw them at an airport because I was helping out a local airport, giving these girls a tour because I was asked to. And then they got off the bus and they're like, Shelby! And I had no idea it was the same troop. And I think that was one of my favorite little Girl Scout camps I've been able to be part of.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience?
If you're of voting age, or someone who's at voting age, please vote in this election, and continue to vote in your local legislation. Is an incredibly important time in our history to get different issues heard within our global government impact that we have. The USA is a global force for multiple things, and we really want to have the best face possible within even our local legislation has incredible impact. So past this November, I hope you please still vote, become an active member in your community within that. Even if you can't vote with your age, you can still reach out to different senators and assembly members and just really ask for them to advocate for issues you're passionate about.
How do you make your s'mores?
So as a college student who doesn't have access to fire that often, I have mastered the microwavable s'more. Just that is probably, it doesn't beat having a campfire s'more, but just being able to have somewhat of a s'more experience through a microwave is incredible, and it uplifts me anytime I'm down.
Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Make sure to click subscribe so you always know when new episodes are released. And don't forget to power your passion and conquer your challenges.
The Hearts of Gold podcast is brought to you by the Grow and Share Network, produced by Off the Walter Media Productions. Thank you for listening and spreading the word on what we do. If you want to share your story of how you earned your Gold Award, reach out and send an email to growandsshare@outlook.com. Be sure to listen to the newest episodes on your favorite podcast app, as well as view the full video episodes on youtube.com/Cheryl M. Robinson. That's youtube.com/Cheryl, the letter M, Robinson. Take care, and we'll see you next time.